The state of Florida is known for many things, some of them bad, some of them worse than whatever bad Florida thing that made you think of, and Disney World, to be fair, which one of the Florida men I discussed today actually got himself and his entire family banned for life from. Why? Guess you'll just have to keep watching to find out. Because today, I'm here to talk about one of the things that Florida is known best for. It's man. It's many, far too many Florida mans. Florida Man is best known for his outrageous alligator and bath salt-filled headlines that make their way around the internet with shocking regularity. And today, I'm going to tell you a lot of these tales from the Florida Man and then rank them tier list style for your viewing pleasure. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Octavius Jesse Henderson, aka Soggy Sock Sonic. So, Dr. Rock over here was a gang member from Tampa, Florida, whose Sonic-like speed caused a bit of chaos. Emeralds.
You're a beta male, Sonic.
He really cast a shadow over the whole city. You know, tales were told of him. Amy Schumer. One fine day, some unnamed man in Tampa pulled into his driveway, got out of his car, and, because this is Florida, was immediately jumped and robbed by Octavius and a fellow gang member, who apparently then shot the man 4 times. Octavius and his partner then did the dash, so to speak, to their getaway car, but Octavius apparently ran just so goddamn fast that he was basically naked by the time he got to the car, losing his jean shorts, his sandals, and a sock during the daring escape. Well, him running around at the speed of sound to the point that his clothes were just torn asunder from his body is one theory. You know, he might have always just been shedding weight so he could run even faster. We'll never really know. The physics aren't really important here. The point is that this sock that rocketed off his body and flew gently down right onto the crime scene apparently contained some DNA in it.
In my room, I be my cup, loaded in my sock.
Now, I do not know if this was the type of DNA that your dirty mind usually assumes goes in a sock or just plain old semen, but either way, the cops were able to use this DNA to track down the blue blur and turn him into more of an orange lump, because prison, you know, the jumpsuits, the orange is the new black. You get it. Tempted to give this a S tier for just sticky sock shenanigans, but I feels more like a B. It's got B energy to me. Let's go with B tier. Andres Montalehi, I think is how you pronounce that, aka the Lying Dutchman. On the lazy Sunday of October 23rd, 2022, the Dutchman was going for a casual 4 a.m. drive down Florida's Interstate 75 in his car, which was somehow missing 2 of its wheels.
Is this legal? No, is it legal?
And that is 50% down from the standard 4. For those who have never seen a car or heard about how they work before. I like to be very inclusive to my audience here. I'm not leaving anybody behind. I mean, I personally didn't even know women had nipples until I was like 24. I mean, it's normal for people to not know things sometimes. Now, there's like a 20-minute body cam clip from the cop pulling this guy over. No idea why they would stop him just for riding on 2 wheels. I mean, motorcycles do that all the time. Seems a little bit discriminatory here. I don't know, maybe he was speeding. But either way, I am now just going to play this body cam footage that I hope doesn't get me copyright stricken. You're about to find out whether it's still in this video or not, so here goes.
Hello. How you doing? Deputy Wilson with the Sheriff's Office. You got a driver's license on you?
Yeah.
Go ahead, step out of the car for me, man. You alright? No. Step out of the car.
I'm sorry.
Your foot's on the gas.
Accidentally, yeah.
Okay. Do you know that you've been driving on the rim of your car here?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's my only way to go.
Did you get in a car accident?
I hit a curb. It's actually really weird. I hit a curb, and I guess I hit the curb kind of hard, but I wouldn't have expected it to be. Honestly, if you ask me, I think somebody put a curse on it.
It's gonna be a black SUV. Severe damage to the driver's side. No rims or tires left.
I hit the curb a little hard.
So yeah, the 29-year-old driver told the police that someone had apparently put a curse on him.
We love casting spells.
Which magically removed 2 of his tires and then forced him to drive incredibly fast on the 2 tires that remained on his car. for some reason. I don't know what the motive would be there. I don't think he went into it. I mean, you can't necessarily just tell the cops that you pissed off a witch by shorting her 2 ounces on the re-up or something. As one article covering the story put it, the officers involved suspected that another kind of spirits might be responsible for the driver's erratic behavior and requested that he submit to a field sobriety test, which the driver initially agreed to before becoming incredibly agitated, spitting on the police officers, attempting to take one of their razors and threatening to, quote, skin them alive.
I'm going to run you through some field sobriety exercises. Do you agree to take those with me?
7527.
No, but
You understand? You okay?
I got stuff in my boots.
I suspect that you're impaired, and now I'm asking you to perform some field sobriety exercises out here tonight.
Right, but that wouldn't prove anything. That's just you being like a bald head white guy.
Is that right? Look at your car. I watched you from there.
That's paranormal.
Drive up.
How about next time I light my car on fire and I lay down here and I take a nap and I just call that my life?
I suspect that you're impaired.
No, you don't. You're just racist. I feel like I'm gonna go to jail anyways because you're racist. I mean, just look at you, man. You mess with me right now. Let me tell you something,
All right,
man.
do me a favor.
I'm gonna break your head with a baseball bat.
Oh, is that right?
If you this up, because you're on a warning right now with your bald head and your white skin. Yellow line right there? Accomplice, head honcho. You messed this up. You messed this up, man.
Put your feet together for me.
You messed this up. I'm gonna break your head with a baseball bat. So you're the ghost, huh?
Do me a favor.
You're the ghost Nazi.
Take a look at the tip of this pen.
I'm gonna skin you alive if you this up.
You understand that if you refuse to do these exercises, you're gonna go to jail.
Do you understand that you look like a Nazi?
Take a look at the tip of this pen for me.
I got a red baseball bat, painted circles on it with a Sharpie. I'll stand in front of you, spin it clockwise if you this up. You know what happens next.
Are you threatening me?
I'm keeping you in check because you're a Nazi. I want to see some hair. I want to see some hair. I bet you if I killed you right now, they'd give me a medal.
Oh yeah?
They'd give me a medal. They would call me a hero. At this point in time, I don't care if you do this straight, man. I'm coming after you.
Alright,
you should be afraid of me right now. Listen to the sound of a taser in your ear. The same way you guys pretend you don't have small
Do you have any
dicks
questions,
you don't
sir?
have family in wheelchairs. Well, that's not fair because I was never really a balanced kind of guy. I'm a rapper.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm an intellectual.
You may begin.
Physics was never my thing.
Turn around. You're being placed under arrest for DUI. Okay.
Dog, I was just hanging out, man.
Dude, you're about to get on the interstate like this, man. You're lucky you didn't get yourself. Or someone else.
I didn't break the law. I'm getting home. What do you want me to do? Camp out here? Y'all pull me out of my car? I'm gonna make you starve, your family starve. What do you got? Kids? A wife? A daughter? A sister? A son? I'm gonna break their legs, dog. I'm gonna them in front of you, pig. You should have gave me a ride home, you pig. You not pig.
Listen, stop spitting, man. Stop spitting, sir. Like, seriously.
See how the government works, dog?
So, chill dude, clearly. Seems like he'd be real fun at the kickback. So the Dutchman was then promptly arrested and faced a 25-year prison charge for reckless driving and assaulting a police officer. And, I don't know, this story seems maybe like a B tier for black magic? No, that seems a little too high. Let's go with C for cursed guy. Moving on. And hey, you know what's even scarier than coming face to face with a unhinged Florida man riding his pet alligator in a dark, dank Tallahassee alleyway at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday? That's right, surfing the internet without protecting your online privacy. Unthinkable, I know. And the best way to protect yourself online is to use today's sponsor, Surfshark, an amazing, easy-to-use VPN that is offering you 81% off a 2-year plan and 3 months extra absolutely free when you click my link in the video description. That's a good deal right there. Last time I talked about Surfshark, I told you all about how they keep you and your data safe by encrypting everything you're doing online and hiding your location, allow you to watch shows on streaming services like Netflix that aren't available in your country, lets you save money by comparing prices in different regions through changing your virtual location, and allows you to use one account across unlimited devices, so you and everyone you know can all split the price of just one account. Yep, that's right. You can share your account with anyone you want, even Derek. But don't. Don't share it with Derek. Share it with literally anyone other than Derek. Surfshark is just too good for the likes of Derek. Stop watching my ads, Derek! But did you know that Surfshark also has the ability to block all those annoying pop-ups asking if you consent to cookies on websites? I mean, why would you even need to see those pop-ups in the first place when Surfshark's already keeping your data secure 25/8? That's like 24/7, but even more often somehow. How do they do that? How's that even physically possible? I don't know, but Surfshark finds a way. They're just that good. And if you're as indecisive as I am, you'll be happy to hear that Surfshark also comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. I doubt you will ever have to use that since Surfshark is epic and you'll never want to go back, but it's nice of them to give you the option. So, if you're ready to take back your privacy from big tech and online hooligans and start surfing the net the right way, go down to my description and click that link to get this amazing deal from Surfshark. If you don't see the deal apply automatically after you click the link, make sure to use the coupon code NECESSARY at checkout. That's just the word necessary, so you can enjoy an extra 3 months of Surfshark absolutely free. Really, go do it. Immediately, right now, this instant, go to my description and click on that link. I mean, why wouldn't you do it? Really, draw me up a bulleted list of any possible drawbacks here. The page would be blank, okay? And by supporting Surfshark, you're supporting me too, all right? And I love being supported. It's very nice. So go do it right now. A huge thanks to Surfshark for supporting the channel once again. And now, back to the video. So this next guy's name is not public knowledge, so we will just refer to him as Methy McFly.
Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly.
One fateful day in Pensacola, Florida, McFly was cruising down the interstate in his Dodge Challenger when, apparently, as we all do on occasion, he got the strong and sudden urge to travel through time. Now, for most of us, this would just be an absent-minded daydream with no hope of coming into reality. But, luckily for McFly, he had just seen the well-known documentary Back to the Future, which, if you've seen the film, clearly lays out that all you have to do is get up to 88 miles per hour and hit
1.20 watt, 20 watt, 20 watt, gigawatts!
And suddenly, boom, flames are roaring, license plates are a-flying, and you're back in 1892 trying to pillow smother the baby Hitler. I mean, the man was about to be history's greatest hero. How could he let an opportunity like that pass him by? That would just frankly be irresponsible and unpatriotic. He had to do it. He had to do it. But unfortunately, McFly must have left his flux capacitor at home because all that happened when he hit 88 miles per hour was that he was now going 88 miles per hour directly into a strip mall. I imagine he must have seen the mall coming up to him very quickly and just thought, meh, I'm almost at time travel speed here. This was probably just like a swamp or some shit 100 years ago. Maybe I'll hit like a tree or a gator or something. Who cares? I've literally done that like 6 times this week. So, surprisingly, McFly's Dodge Challenger did not transform into a DeLorean that day and travel back into the past. It instead smashed directly into the mall, completely demolishing 3 businesses, including a tax services office and, ironically, a casket retailer, which thankfully went unneeded as somehow no one was seriously injured during this historic event, even including the driver, which really does not make sense. 88 miles per hour is really fast. So the police later turned up on the scene and arrested McFly for, well, crashing his car into a mall and destroying 3 businesses, and obviously for attempting to tamper with the fabric of time and space itself. So, yeah, A for effort on this one. A tier for effort. It didn't work, but at least he tried. He was taking the risk for all of us, really. Everett Lees, aka the Cat Whisperer. On June 5th, 2012, a 47-year-old man named Everett Lees single-handedly initiated that year's coming apocalypse, as predicted by the Mayan calendar, by attempting to bring his recently birthed live kitten into the most inhospitable environment on Earth, a South Florida strip club. That's correct. On this particular night, Everett went to the strip club with his mind on a different kind of pussy. The bouncer working the door that night was apparently more of a dog guy, though. Maybe a frog fellow, a parakeet person. perhaps, as he was having absolutely none of it and refused to let Everett into his prestigious boobatorium with his funky fresh feline. Now, obviously, because this is Florida, Everett was incredibly intoxicated at this point and was just not very pleased at the news that his beloved kitty was being snubbed from this low-down, dirty tit house, and he could not possibly imagine why this was. Was Fluffy just not cool enough for these jerks? I mean, look at him. He's adorable. That doesn't make any sense. There was just no possible legal explanation for this in his mind. So, naturally, Everett proceeded to repeatedly call 911 to report that his cat was not being let into the strip club. After this statement to 911 did not immediately lead to Everett's imagined conclusion of the police barreling onto the scene and 360 no-scoping the bouncer before blowing a giant gaping hole in the side of the strip club and partying with him and his kitten at the open bar all night, Everett then attempted a tried and true technique that I and renowned buff man Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson like to refer to as lying to the police by calling 911 back, presumably putting on his best Australian accent to avoid detection, and then telling them that the bouncer was assaulting him. Now, when Everett reported that this actual crime was occurring, the Florida police then, surprisingly, actually showed up on the scene. But unfortunately for Everett, they did not immediately murder the bouncer in cold blood with a trick shot the likes of which the world has never seen. And instead just had a brief chat with the bouncer, took one look at the drunken Everett holding his kitten, and then promptly arrested both him and the cat. Just kidding, they didn't slam the wee guy onto the hood and put him into furry little kitten cuffs or anything like that. They just took him to the animal shelter. But, that's basically the animal equivalent of prison, right? We've all seen Garfield. Bill Murray's a genius. Everett was later charged with misuse of the emergency calling system, disorderly intoxication, trespassing after warning, and resisting arrest without violence. As for the kitten, his fate is still unknown. And I'm gonna have to give this kooky little guy a C for can't bring your cat into a strip club, buddy. You should have known that, and really don't call 911 about it next time, please. Please, if you could, thank you. Christopher Masters, aka the Butt Plug Bandit. Now, the little moniker I gave this guy pretty much says it all for this one.
Will you find out what a bunghole is?
You are a bunghole. And so am I. There will be more bungholes after me.
It's a tale as old as time, really. We've all been there at some point ourselves. I know I have. You know I have. You know I've done this. On December 10th, 2015, Christopher Masters found himself in the second most inhospitable environment on Earth, a South Florida Spencer's Gifts, and he was staring directly at their wall of butt plugs. You know the wall. You're familiar with the wall that I'm referring to. Don't act like you don't know the wall. Don't you dare act like I didn't see your ass rectally climbing the Great Wall of Grindel literally last week, Derek. You know the wall. Well, Chris, like most of us from time to time, desired to plug his butt that day, specifically in the Spencer's Gifts. Which, how do they do that? By the way, how does Spencer keep getting away with this? I mean, there's a fucking 4-year-old looking at the Hello Kitty backpacks with a giant pretzel, literally like 6 feet away from a giant wall of bongs and butt plugs in like every mall in America, dude. I don't get it. So Chris had an asshole, clearly.
My people, we have but one bunghole.
But he apparently did not have any balls, because despite having enough money to pay for these butt plugs, he was just too embarrassed to actually take the ass cork up to the counter and expose his sinful, shameful hobbies to the cashier.
The bunghole. It is nothing to be ashamed of.
Even though that is the scientifically proven best method to meet butt plug friendly women. Really, I don't understand the thinking. The woman works at a South Florida Spencer's Gifts, Christopher. Do you really think she's going to judge you? But despite his embarrassment, as previously mentioned, Chris's butt was just begging to be plugged at the time. It was just trucking for a plug-in, and Chris just could not say no to his cute little cornhole. So Chris engaged in the obvious maneuver here and smuggled the butt plug, along with something known as a, quote, stroker can, out of the Spencer's Gifts. No cash transaction necessary. Now, unfortunately, it did not occur to Chris to store his goodies, where they are intended to go, the anus, so the cashier that Chris could have been plugging butts with as we speak if he had just gone through the counter with the tiniest bit of riz, spotted the unusually large lump in Chris's khaki shorts, decided that he was walking way too fast for that immense mound to be his giant penis or untreated testicular cancer, and immediately called security to retrieve Chris's illegally procured prostate plugger.
Yeah, all right. I know your bunghole needs
butt plugs.
We'll get you plenty of
butt plugs
just as soon as we get you back to
prison.
And your bunghole will be just fine.
I would hate for my bunghole to get polio.
Me too.
Which, the only thing more embarrassing to someone too ashamed to purchase a butt plug is probably being caught and later arrested for stealing said butt plug.
You can take me, but you cannot take my bunghole.
So, you know, there's a lesson in there somewhere, kids. You just got to dig for it. Just dig really deep. Just really get up in there. I am really tempted to give this one a B for butthole, but I feel like it's more of a C tier kind of a situation. Maybe if you're caught trying to plug your butthole. All right, moving on. Shawn Petrino, aka the Armless Armory. In late 2016, the general public was a bit confused when police and newspaper headlines around Florida proclaimed that 30-year-old Shawn Petrino, a man with no arms and no legs, was both armed and on the run. Now, this obviously raises a lot of questions, and it was kind of insultingly phrased, to be honest. I mean, not only did they print it saying that he's, armed, that's one thing, but then to go and add on that he's on the run, that's just dirty, bro. You did not have to do my boy Shawn like that. He has no arms or legs, come on. I mean, he could have just said that the guy had a gun and was evading police. It conveys the same message. You did not have to use such ableist language for this armless parent killer. Oh yeah, he killed his parents, by the way. Did I not mention that? Yeah, he straight up shot and murdered his own flesh and blood parent folk. I probably should have brought that up sooner. That was the reason he was armed and on the run. And how did he, shoot a gun, you ask, with no arms or hands or trigger fingers? Well, apparently he somehow modified his weapons in order to do so. And how exactly did he modify said weapons with no arms or hands or modifying fingers? The world may never know, but you know what they say, where there's a will, there's a man with no arms or legs shooting his parents to death with a modified handgun. I mean, it's called a handgun, I don't know, this one really stumped me. Oh man, I apologize to any differently abled people in my audience. This guy shot and killed his parents. I feel like it's okay to make fun of him specifically. After completing said parent popping, Shawn then fled the state by driving a car. Look at him go. It's kind of inspiring, honestly, before he was eventually pulled over in Tennessee by the police, and after deciding that the jig was up, he turned his modified handgun against him. I don't really want to call it a handgun. Again, it's, I guess, a firearm. Even firearm there, even. Why do they need to include the body part in the name? You don't call a condom a penis pouch. Anyway, after he was pulled over, he turned his modified shooting device against himself and completed yet another tragic yet strangely impressive act for a man with no arms by ending his own life. It's a pretty sad story, honestly, but really I am impressed and confused, and I'm going to go ahead and give it an A tier for armed and on the run. Gary Vanriswick is, I think, how you pronounce that, aka the pernicious penis poacher. Now, the way I see it, right, there are two types of people in this world, okay? Those who get their dicks cut off and those doing the cutting. I learned that valuable lesson from Matthew McConaughey's character in The Wolf of Wall Street.
I want to. That's not why I do it. I do it because I fucking need to.
Just pay some closer attention next time. It's there.
Broadway writers call it subtext. Just listen really, really closely.
And Gary Van Unpronounceable last name over here must have picked up on that message as well, because on August 20th, 2019, the Sheriff's Department of Highlands County, Florida, released a statement claiming that Gary had been arrested for performing what they called a, quote, botched illegal castration surgery on another man that he had apparently met on a fetish site for aspiring eunuchs. Eunuchs, for those who do not know, are men who literally have no balls. And I do not just mean that they get all weird and awkward when the girls that they themselves requested show up at the party. I mean, they literally have no testicles at all. They were removed for some reason. They turned No Nut November into No Nut ever. And the sheriff's department involved here also appeared to have a bit of a sense of humor about the situation, as the statement they put out about the event included this quote: "This one is a little, let's just say, sensitive. You could even say it's kinda nuts." And honestly, a W for the police on that one. It is a very rare occasion that I get to utter that string of words, but yeah, good job. The boys in blue will be here all week, folks. Remember to tip your bartender and not be a minority, especially if you're driving. And also about how they phrased the statement, I don't know that I would necessarily refer to chopping off the wiener of a man you met on a fetish website in your living room a, quote, surgery, illegally botched or otherwise. I mean, maybe like an operation if you're really stretching the definition of the term, but I think that's just more like, that's just mutilating a man, isn't it? That's certainly not a surgery.
Why don't you attach that green one to that purple one?
Okay, here goes. Oh, God!
That kill me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. All right, try the green one and the blue one.
Either way, 2 days prior, on August 18th of 2019, authorities responded to an aborted 911 call made from Gary's house, which I assume was done by the Dick Choppy, who presumably immediately regretted his decision to let this 74-year-old man snip off his sperm shooter and just called 911, then immediately hung up so he could still get officers to the location without, explaining himself, which, pardon my phrasing here, was kind of a dick move on his part, in my opinion. I mean, if you're gonna link up with another man online for the purpose of removing your penis, and then go all the way to his house and actually go through with the thing, just commit to the bit, bro. Don't go and get the police involved here. Be a man. Although, I guess technically he was literally much less of a man immediately after this quote-unquote surgery took place, so I guess maybe that does explain his actions here. Either way, the police then quickly arrived at the site of the sin snake snipping, and after greeting them at the door, Gary then just casually informed them that, yes, he did in fact just straight up castrate a man. The statement from the sheriff's office said that the deputies, quote, found the man on the bed with a towel over his groin, which was bleeding heavily. And that, quote, nearby there was a pink container which contained 2 body parts that had recently been much closer to the victim. And again, I do not know who wrote this official police statement or why they took it as an opportunity to work on their tight 5, but I respect it nonetheless. The now dickless man was then rushed to the hospital where he underwent an emergency operation and is now fine. Penisless, I'm pretty sure, but fine. I didn't actually see anything about them reattaching it. But hey, that was the goal, right? And the officers promptly arrested Gary for his illegal penile pluckery. Now, I would consider myself a bit of a libertarian. I think that 2 consenting adults should be able to do literally whatever they want to each other, as long as they are both completely and totally cool with it and agree formally. But also, the dude chopped another man's dick off, so I really don't know how to feel about this one. It is kind of kooky, though. Pretty bonkers, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B for bonkers. For no balls. Barry Lee Hastings Jr., aka Officer Bullshit, 8:30 p.m., the 4th of July. Plant City, Florida.
Give me the plan.
35-year-old Barry Lee Hastings Jr. was performing his patriotic duty as a certified fake police officer in his modified Crown Victoria when he saw some crazed delinquent speeding around like he thought this was GTA 6. Now, obviously, Barry had a responsibility to do his fake job here, as any good fictitious policeman would. So, he quickly turned on his lights and pulled over the speeding ne'er-do-well. Now, I do not know what Barry's intentions were after he did this, pulling over this vehicle. It's not like he can actually issue tickets or like make arrests or anything like that. I don't know. Maybe he was just out there to collect bribes or score some free female pat-downs off the situation. I don't know. It is Florida. That would all add up pretty neatly. Maybe it was just a casual kidnapping situation. You know, it could be that Barry's got a skin collection he needs to expand. These are just questions we don't have the answers to. However, very unfortunately for Barry here, this individual that he just pulled over was not a supple-skinned young woman with a big wallet and even bigger sweater stuffers, but was instead a real, actual cop who just so happened to be undercover. Now, this cop, being an actual cop and all, immediately knew that something was very fishy about this situation and demanded to see Barry's credentials. And then, after Barry briefly tried to run away from this comedically idiotic situation he put himself in like a little bitch, the police officer then tackled and arrested him and dragged him in for pretending to be him. While looking into this case, I found that there's actually a strangely high number of people that have been arrested for impersonating police officers in Florida. Although, I guess I shouldn't really be too surprised by that. It is Florida. I suppose I'd be surprised if there weren't a bunch of gator punching meth heads out there impersonating police officers in the sinner's swampland, but I'm giving this one a solid C for cop. Wayne Bowen, aka Nick Cage in that one movie where he plays his own twin brother. I think it's called Adaptation. So this one's a real Zack and Cody plotline type of a situation. It's a tale as old as tales themselves. A pair of two twins, one working for the forces of good and the other for evil. The evil Negachin twin of this pair was named Wayne Bowen, and after his identical brother was sent off to war for the U.S. military and returned, Wayne now saw a military man with extensive veteran benefits from the VA that just so happened to look exactly like him, and decided, yep, yeah, I'm that guy now, and promptly stole his twin brother's identity.
It was a crime the federal government says went on for years. Wayne Bowen of Jacksonville stealing his twin's identity to receive VA benefits. In his plea agreement, he admitted to creating fraudulent ID cards and a veteran profile to receive $50,000 in housing subsidies and medical services. In Bowen's case, he admitted to memorizing his brother's social security number, despite living in different states and not seeing each other for 27 years.
After pretending to be his war-torn brother for several years, Wayne was finally caught in April of 2022 and was forced to repay more than $63,000 to various government bodies that he had stolen from, as well as spend 2 years in federal prison, where I've heard that they don't exactly take kindly to pretending to be a war hero and stealing from the VA.
Any kind of scams that are targeting veterans, I just think that's vile.
So I really hope that him and his estranged brother don't have that whole weird twin thing where they can feel each other's pain and shit, or else the real veteran's gonna have a lot of sleepless nights covered in butt cream on account of his brother's rectal retribution. I'm gonna give this one a B for twin brother and butthole cream. Cory Johnson, aka the Concerned Citizen. We've all seen Monsters vs. Aliens, right? It's a cinematic masterpiece, a staple of a generation, right up there beside Casablanca and the B-movie. But in July of 2022, a 29-year-old Florida man named Cory Johnson saw a bit of an updated version, which could only be known as Aliens vs. Dragons. Specifically, Cory was let in on the forbidden knowledge that American aliens, not metaphorically, extraterrestrials, American extraterrestrial somehow, were about to be attacked by dirty Chinese dragons. And obviously, Cory had to carry out his patriotic duty as a concerned citizen here by alerting America's Space Force, yes, that is a real thing, it was set up under the Trump administration, of the oncoming dirty communist dragon attack on America's valiant burger-munching alien compatriots. The only problem with this was that Cory did not exactly have a car or vehicle of any kind to get to the nearby Space Force base with and inform them of this upcoming atrocity, but this was a national emergency he had on his hands here. The fate of America and the world in general hung heavily over his presumably shaky, meth-ridden shoulders, and he, as any red-blooded American would, was willing to do whatever it took to defend the sanctity of this God-given nation. After all, the man was about to be a hero, a modern-day Paul Revere, and after the U.S. government heard his valiant cries of "the Chinese dragons are coming," "the Chinese dragons are coming," they'd certainly pardon any illegal deeds that the guy absolutely had to commit to save the very world itself here, right? Well, let's just see how that line of thinking played out here. So Cory decided to borrow, let's just say, a nearby Ford F-150 that was parked on the street and frantically drive it to the nearest Space Force base to inform them of this upcoming cosmic battle and save the world. And when Cory finally arrived at said space base in his borrowed F-150, the guards that were on duty at the time reported that he told them he needed to get in absolutely immediately because, quote, the president told him in his mind that he needed to take the vehicle and warn government officials that there were U.S. aliens fighting Chinese dragons. Now, surprisingly, for some unknown reason, maybe I missed a part of the story here where he did something wrong, Cory was denied entry into the base and arrested immediately. And despite what Cory had initially expected, it turned out that the government was not particularly inclined to forgive him of his crimes in exchange for him warning them of the imminent cosmic battle between aliens and Chinese dragons. But, you know, they will be sorry in about a year when it does actually occur. You know, they should have listened. Should have heeded his warning there. As Cory never actually managed to make it past the gate onto the base, he never received the fabled 5-star wanted rating, but the government did indeed charge him with Grand Theft Auto on account of the stolen F-150. So, you know, I'm starting to see why the next installment's going to be set in Florida here. I'm kind of hyped. This video is getting me kind of hyped for GTA 6, okay? I mean, these Florida men are literally living it out in real life as we speak. It would be pretty sweet if GTA 6 just made all the side missions these crazy Florida man stories to a T. There are a couple of them I would not want to play out, specifically one that occurs at a Target retail store that we will see later. That one, oh God, just, yeah, God, prepare yourself for that one. Keep watching, folks. It's disturbing. The new GTA better at least let you throw a baby alligator like it's a baseball, though. I mean, that's a must-have for me, dog. If not, I'm out.
So no
throwing baby alligators.
I'm gonna play some Saints Row or something. And I could give this one an A for American aliens versus Chinese dragons, but you know what? I'm gonna be bold. I'm actually gonna throw this guy in the S tier. Here, I'm a particular fan of this one. It's S tier for sure for the Space Force should have listened. All right, moving on. So this next little tyke's name is not public knowledge, as he is not a Florida man. Actually, a bit of a plot twist. He's a Florida child.
There is only one thing worse than a rapist. Boom. A child. No.
So we will simply refer to him as the video game Vandal, aka King iPad Kid, Emperor Taki Muncher Supreme, the silly sippy cup scallywag. So, as you all may not so fondly remember, I know I certainly do, it was a very traumatic experience, back in Christmas break of the great year of our Lord when we still had Black Man President 2015, a group known as the Lizard Squad somehow hacked into Sony's servers and knocked out their network, so no one could access the PSN on their PlayStation system or even play a simple game of online Minecraft with the boys. They were very dark times. There's nothing more important to a sticky little child on Christmas break from school. You know, you're off of school, you're at home with your family, then completely ignoring your family with the video game system you just got from Pappy by calling someone the gamer word in the middle of the game of COD. It's almost like a religious rite of passage. Now this, obviously, very clearly, was a ridiculously urgent emergency of unprecedented proportions that should have been reported on a blue screen blaring the tsunami siren on every television screen in America. And one sticky yet brave Florida child, realizing this, did what anyone does in a life-threatening emergency and quickly dialed 911.
Sony says its PlayStation network has been fully restored after a Christmas Day attack that knocked it offline for about 3 days. The outage prompting a gamer to call 911.
The police or paramedics.
Do you know about the whole thing that's going on with the PlayStation Network?
This rightfully concerned child then went on to graciously inform the humble, simple 911 operator who had apparently been living under a rock that the PSN network had been down since Christmas and that he had heard that they had already arrested 2 people so far. He did not get more specific with that. He just said, I heard they already arrested 2 people. The innocence of a child. The 911 operator then savagely clapped the back at this miserable little Cheeto dust covered chicklet with this clever little comment.
Last time I checked, that wasn't an emergency. Try going outside or reading a book.
And this story, not the craziest thing I've ever heard from the Florida man. Technically not even from a Florida man. I could give it a C for child. Cheeto dust covered child, but I don't really think it even deserves that. So I'm gonna go with D for don't call 911 because your PlayStation isn't working, please. John R. Wood and Amber Campbell, aka the Closet Criminals. Have you ever been trapped in the closet? R. Kelly certainly has. Tom Cruise has as well.
Mr. Cruise, come out of the closet. No.
Hell, I've even found myself trapped in a closet or two in my time. I mean, usually it's like the trunk of a sedan or some kind of a CIA torture chamber of sorts. But yeah, closets as well. You know, it happens to the best of us, man. And two more fine fellows who would find themselves trapped in the closet were Florida couple John R. Wood and Amber Campbell, who, after trespassing onto the campus of Florida's Daytona State College, decided to hole up in a janitor's closet. Why they would do this, I do not know. My assumption is, of course, as always, that they were trying to get dirty next to the cleaning products, because that is just convenient. To the couple's dismay, they soon realized that they were actually trapped in this janitor's closet with no way to escape, and after allegedly shitting and pissing on themselves and the floor for several days, they apparently got tired of the stench and ended up calling the police on themselves. However, when the cops actually arrived on the scene, instead of busting out the battering ram and bashing this door in to free this terrified, fecal-covered couple, they simply just pushed the door open.
Now he's open in the closet
because it had been unlocked literally the entire time. They were just sitting in an unlocked closet, pissing and shitting all over themselves for several days.
A Florida couple called police for help getting out of an unlocked closet. John R. Wood and Amber Campbell were found in a janitor's closet at Daytona State College. According to the police report, R. Wood called 911 on his cell phone saying he and Campbell had been trapped in the closet for 2 days after someone chased them in there. R. Wood couldn't identify who was chasing them or give the police any other information. Police tracked the signal from R. Wood's phone and found the couple in a closet in the Daytona State College Marine and Environmental Science Center. To try and figure out how the couple got locked in, one officer stepped into the closet and closed the door behind him while another officer stood outside. He found there was no way to lock the door from the inside, so R. Wood and Campbell were just sitting in an unlocked closet for 2 days.
I have literally no idea how that could have occurred. Florida, I guess, is the answer, as always. But however it did, after removing this shit and piss-covered couple from the unlocked janitor's closet that they had just been sitting in for several days, the cops arrested them on site for trespassing after they had, again, basically just called the police on themselves. Which, I mean, even if you actually fully believe that you are definitely trapped in there for realsies, despite never once trying to push or pull open the door, aren't there other people you can call than the police to get you out of there when you're there? Criminally, you know what I mean? Because of this, I kind of want to give it a D for dumbass. But the sheer dumbassery of it, honestly, I feel like kind of earns it like at least a C. So we'll go with that. We'll go with C for closet. All right, moving on. David Swindler, aka the Joker.
The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets.
Sometimes, every 100 years or so, there comes along a truly exceptional comedian, a cosmic jester of sorts, a funny man of such epic proportions that his jokes have the ability to manipulate the fabric of the universe around him, control the police, and violently disturb the Disney Corporation. And luckily, we actually know the identity of this generation's supernatural jokester. That man, that Florida man, is named David Swindler. Now, based on his last name, David clearly comes from a long line of dirty, stinking thieves. But the only thing he stole on this day was his own ability to enter Disneyland, or any other Disney-related properties, which is quite the valuable asset nonetheless, especially to David, as we'll see. So, you know, quite the thief, I guess. He's living up to his last name. But how exactly did he accomplish this feat? Well, apparently, on Labor Day weekend of 2015, David and his family were staying at the Pop Century Resort in Disneyland when David became very frustrated at the time it was taking to get service from one of the Disney employees. David then, in a moment of blinding comedic genius that could not be reproduced even if Jerry Seinfeld had a dirty mind baby with Bill Burr that Louis C.K. choked his chicken directly in front of, he told the Disney employee that he, quote, could build a meth lab in his room in the time it was taking to get service. Now, I make jokes like this all the time, constantly. I love to do it at the airport, specifically. The TSA is a great audience. They seem to really enjoy bomb jokes in particular, so everyone should try that out next time you're in line over there. But apparently, this Disney employee was the toughest crowd in the known universe because they somehow managed to avoid having a comedic seizure as a result of the dehydration brought on from laughing hysterically for several days straight at this man's amazing joke. And instead, they somehow managed to contact the authorities, inform them of David's joke and his home address, and then this led to a straight-up SWAT sting operation of David's house in the middle of the night while he was still, ironically, waiting for service.
David Swindler made a joke about an employee's response time to an issue at the Pop Century Resort. Swindler told the employee he could build a meth lab in his room by the time he got service. Well, the joke triggered a raid by law enforcement and resort security.
And the most tragic part of this story, by far, is that said service never came, as Mickey Mouse himself heard of this little meth comment in his family-friendly theme park and was so furious that he banned David and his entire family from ever entering any Disney property ever, forever, until the end of time.
Swindler is now banned from the resorts and theme parks for life. That's intense.
Now, David did not actually have any meth or like a meth lab of any kind on his property that the police raided. So there were no criminal charges put on him. But, you know, people typically still don't enjoy having their house busted in and searched around and just generally f***ed up by the police. I know I hate it when that happens to me. But despite being literally swatted by Disney over a joke, David said that this ban from all Disney properties was much more of a crushing blow to him than any of the legal bullshit or getting his house broken into and raided and all that. This is because David is apparently a total Disney head fan. I don't know what you would call them. Do they have like a term? A Disney dude? He loved the place. He even told reporters that Jesus comes first in his life, his family second, and Disney third. This man ranks Disney above shitting and pissing and eating. It's just Jesus, his family, then Disney. Nothing else matters to this guy. I mean, I assume, you know, not having his house raided by the police is somewhere down around like 6 or 7 on that list, but Disney is third, okay? That is way up there. I mean, at least the guy wasn't banned from loving Jesus, I guess, but, you know, he should make a couple more meth comments in the church congregation, see what happens. So David was crushed at this eternal Disney ban and being forced to settle for Universal Orlando or, God forbid, Six Flags Fiesta Texas.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
And he apparently heavily regrets his decision, telling reporters, quote, "I don't know why I said meth lab. I should have said I was going to build an atomic bomb or something else." And, you know, that's a bit of a stupid thing to say. But honestly, yeah, it probably would have raised a lot fewer concerns. I mean, no one in Florida is smart enough to do anything with nuclear technology, but, you know, a meth lab? That's some realistic shit right there. I'm pretty mad at Disney for this one. That's f***ed up, dude. That's the guy was just joking around. Like, what the f***? So I'm gonna give Disney a D tier here, just the corporation of Disney. D for Disney. You suck, Disney. F*** you, Disney. You know what? No, F. F for f*** you, Disney. F tier. And I would love to give David an S tier here for solidarity under the Swindler, but I don't feel that that's right, as he didn't even really technically commit like a crime or do anything crazy with a gator or any of that shit. So I think it's more of a B tier. The guy just said a joke. Yeah. Adrien Lee Gonzales Bradway, aka the birthday suit bouncer. The sweet, supple sensation of feeling the wind on your nips, the breeze on your tip and rim as you fly upward toward the sky in an act that defies God himself and his very annoying laws of gravity. It's what every man dreams of every single day, without exception, when he wakes up in the morning.
I have got to get my dick sucked.
And in March of 2021, 21-year-old long-named Florida man, Adrien Lee Gonzales Bradway, decided that he was gonna taste that sweet, succulent, irresistible tang of bouncy, naked freedom, no matter what it cost him, or anyone else, for that matter. So Adrien stripped down to his bare behind and ran, nude, to his neighbor's yard, where he began jumping aggressively on her luscious trampoline.
The woman who lives here says she saw her next-door neighbor jumping on her trampoline completely naked.
I saw him on my trampoline jumping, naked, touching himself.
And I'm sure that must have been a sight to behold. You're washing the dishes, looking out your back window. Oh! Look at that ding-a-ling. It's a flopping. What is that? Some kind of helicopter maneuver? That's impressive. Who is this man? Why we give him a medal? But it gets just a bit more interesting as when the woman who lived there saw this glorious spectacle and came outside to talk to Adrien about his activities. She then informed him that she was going to have to call the police. No idea why. Maybe she figured that they might want to see him do some flips or something like that. I'm sure it was entertaining. And as soon as Adrien heard this, he flew into a rage, ran toward her house, broke a window, jumped inside her house, and just kind of went brazy for a while, just wriggling around, just doing all kinds of naked Florida man stuff in there, just really getting the place sticky as shit.
She picked up her phone to call 911, but when she did that, he became violent, jumping off of the trampoline and running towards her home, where he smashed a kitchen window trying to get inside.
To make things quite a bit worse, Adrien also had her 2 children inside of the house who witnessed this entire thing go down, every single inch of it. And, I think that's probably an indication to move at that point out of the state or the country or the world. When that happens to you.
She was home with 4 young kids when she saw Gonzales strolling through her backyard, completely naked.
Adrien never actually stole anything from the home. He just kind of broke in and caused a ruckus, to say the least. Probably traumatized a couple of children pretty damn bad.
The kids don't even want to go outside because they asked me, is the naked guy gonna come out and kill us?
I know I was kind of messed up after my first experience seeing a naked man burst through my closed window and wriggle about on the floor for a while, but by the 4th time, didn't even take my eyes off the TV, but I had matured by that point, ripe old age of 12. I knew well enough that he was gonna tucker himself out eventually, give me a crumpled up 20 and head out. I kind of looked forward to it at that point. It was good putting around money for me. I could get a lot of big league chew with that. By the time the police actually arrived on the scene to arrest this nefarious naked ne'er-do-well, he had reportedly found his way back outside at that point and was rolling around on the ground and eating grass.
They laid him on the ground. He started going crazy, eating the dirt, eating the grass, twisting around.
But of course, who among us hasn't been there? A little baby cow cosplay. That's my standard Tuesday. I'm gonna give this one an S for Standard Tuesday. Now, we don't know this guy's name, but we do know his job description, so I will simply refer to him as the Booty Patrolman. So, you ever seen those incredibly hilarious, just laugh out loud funny, not at all creepy or cringy federal booty inspector t-shirts before? Yeah, well, this fellow decided to push that concept just a bit further by completely transforming his SUV into an almost exact replica of a U.S. Border Patrol vehicle, except in a feat of comedic genius, he replaced the word border, get ready for this, with booty. Oh my God, I know, control yourself. Get a grip on yourself, man. I know, I get it, it's funny. So now the guy was just driving around in a very convincing Border Patrol vehicle, except, it said Booty Patrol. Again, I know, hilarious shit. And there's actually a body cam clip of this humble booty patrolman getting pulled over, so hopefully you can enjoy that now, as I hope it is not copyrighted footage.
A Florida driver who was pulled over in October for driving a truck painted similar to a Border Patrol vehicle but instead read Booty Patrol is facing charges of impersonating a police officer.
How you doing? What's up, man? I'm Deputy Gamont with the Sheriff's Office. I'm stopping you for your auxiliary lights. For what? Your lights. You can't have any kind of red lights, and they also said you possibly have red and blue lights in your grill.
Oh, yeah, no, because I was over there, some people were taking pictures of my truck, and I have some police lights, but I know over there where I'm from, that's
where? Is that not in Florida?
Bradenton? No, in Bradenton. As long as I'm like in private property, I could have them on, because they're just taking pictures with them.
No, that's not how that works.
During the traffic stop, a person tried to get away, but the deputy stopped the potential getaway.
Hey, come here.
He was able to have the person return to the Booty Patrol truck.
Apparently the guy was just too good at his craft for his own sake, and the Florida police considered his vehicle too convincing that it was an actual U.S. Border Patrol vehicle, that it was illegal, as they considered him to be impersonating the Border Patrol. Even though the thing clearly states booty patrol. Look a little bit harder next time, Florida police. Who's he trying to impersonate there? That's just his life. The guy, he's not lying about that. Apparently, this noble fellow keeping us safe out there by patrolling the many various booties of Florida, making sure that they're not up to no good, had surprisingly already had multiple run-ins with the police by this point, and even had a TikTok account set up specifically for his booty patrol vehicle. This one, in my opinion, is both lame and cringy. I hate it. I would give it a C for cringy if it wasn't even worse than that. I'm going to give it a D for deplorable. I hate it. I hate it so much. The only reason I'm not giving it an F is because I don't want it to be in the same category as something I'm going to talk about later that happens in a Target. It's so bad. It's so bad, dude. Just keep watching. Just keep watching for it. D tier. This guy's name is not known to the public, and I don't even think he's actually been caught yet officially, so, he's out there, people, okay? Be warned, be incredibly scared, because now it is time to talk about Florida's perilous pussy shaver. One infamous day in the city of Palm Coast, Florida, a family's humble, friendly feline companion was chilling at the house, getting his groove on, being a cat, licking himself, and doing whatever they do while everyone's out at work, when suddenly the unthinkable happened. A f***ing crazed, absolute lunatic of a madman burst through the unlocked front door, runs to the family bathroom, grabs a razor, comes back, and shaves this poor, unsuspecting cat's head. He really did a number on the little guy. He really gave him like a reverse mohawk here. After this sick, freaky got his jollies out, turning this poor cat into David Cross, he then leaves without stealing a thing and disappeared into the night. This man, if you can even call him that, has, again, very unfortunately not been caught for this absolute war crime, and the only reason that the family involved here doesn't know that they didn't have a razor-happy poltergeist in their home at the time, or that the cat didn't just want a new do and decide to shave itself, was that their home camera security system caught the whole thing on film, which is footage that is very, very unfortunately not public, so I cannot show it to you, as I don't know where it is. Can't get it. I am a bit conflicted on how to rank this one, because on one hand, it's clearly an absolute atrocity, so I could give it an A for atrocity if we're ranking these things based solely on just how wacky and ridiculous they are, but on the other hand, f you. Don't touch my furry little friend. If somebody busted into my house and shaved Gilbert's head, oh my God, I would be so pissed. The only people that get to shave that little guy's head are me and some feline brain surgeon, if God forbid he ever needs it. So I could give it an F for you. Don't touch my furry little friends, man. But I think that those two factors just kind of average each other out to a C for comb over, because that is what that cat is going to need. Actually, you know what? I've never been a man of compromise, so let's go ahead and put this guy in both S and F tier somehow. That seems a little more accurate than just giving him a C. Ronnie Dylan Willis, aka that one guy who comes back to your house after the party at 4 a.m. with Find My iPhone pulled up on his laptop. We've all misplaced our cellular telephone from time to time. It's just a fact of life. It happens to the best of us, the worst of us, and the stupidest of us. And those last two categories definitely apply to this 25-year-old Florida man, Ronnie Dylan Willis.
What you talking about, Willis?
On March 14th, 2019, one hapless Winter Haven, Florida resident awoke to find her prized Jeep Patriot suspiciously missing from her front driveway. Horrified at the thought of losing her mechanical baby, she immediately phoned the police, who arrived shortly afterward. And while talking to the police about her stolen Jeep, well, have you ever heard of the term speak of the devil? Ronnie literally pulled up to the scene of the crime, driving the stolen Jeep that the lady was reporting to the cop, as she was reporting it to the cop. I mean, the timing here was just immaculate. Just mwah. Ronnie then got out of the stolen vehicle and asked if anyone had found his phone, which was pinging back to that address. You see, the woman that lived there had two vehicles in her driveway. Or at least she did, until Ronnie stole one of them and then oh so generously brought it back. Those two vehicles being said stolen Jeep and a van. Ronnie then told the officer on the scene a very interesting tale, which was that he had woken up that morning in one of the woman's vehicles. He could not remember which one specifically. I guess he couldn't quite recall if he had been enjoying some good old off-road mudding in the Jeep yesterday or being molested. I don't know why else he would wake up in an unknown van. But either way, he decided to drive the Jeep around for a while before he, returned to the scene of his very recent crime to look for his phone, as the officer was currently experiencing. The officer, now fully caught up on the Tolkien-esque adventure that was this man's afternoon, then promptly arrested Ronnie for just straight up confessing to his face to committing Grand Theft Auto, as well as driving the stolen Jeep with a suspended license. Which, that is some real insult to injury there, legally speaking, isn't it? This one, kinda mid, so I'm just gonna give it a C. For can't remember which one of these cars I woke up in, but can you please help me find my phone, officer? Wait, what are you doing? Why are you putting those cuffs on me? I'm under arrest. Oh shit, I just confessed to a crime. That's what it stands for, C tier. Barbara Lee Ray, aka Granny Smack. Now, I haven't really been reading out the hilariously phrased headlines for these comical crimes, as I did not want to, spoil the surprise, really, for everyone. We love a good untainted plot here on Necessary Information, but I'm a real big fan of this one, so, here goes. Florida woman concerned about the meth she was smoking, so she took it to her doctor. Which is, if you think about it, or actually, not think about it very hard in any way at all, that kind of makes sense, your doctor is the one who's supposed to be keeping you healthy, right? Shouldn't the Hippocratic Oath force him to make sure you're smoking on that healthy meth and not none of that stepped-on scante?
That's why I now use e-meth. It's crystal meth, but electronic, so it produces vapor instead of smoke.
E-meth is healthier because it doesn't contain antifreeze, but it still has that great meth taste.
The concerned meth connoisseur in question here was one Barbara Lee Ray, who, to add to the absolute absurdity of this case, was a 73-year-old woman. At the time, at least. I don't know exactly when this case occurred, so who knows? She could be an 80-year-old man at this point. Who are we to judge? One sunny Florida afternoon, Barbara, old, decrepit, sweet Barbara, burst into her doctor's office carrying 2 clear plastic baggies, just completely chocked to the brim full of meth, and asked her doctor to check it out. Apparently, she took it to her doctor to, quote, see if it was actually meth, which, ideally it wouldn't be, right? That's probably the most ideal scenario, is that she had just been accidentally smoking rock candy this entire time, but nope. Unfortunately, Granny had indeed been token on that premium Mexican plexiglass this whole time. After presumably putting his stethoscope up to the bags and listening in for a while, the doctor said, yep, that sure is meth, and called in the cops, who then arrested this poor old gangsta-ass lady. Apparently, before her arrest, she had told the doctor that she was, quote, scared of what smoking it was doing to her, and that she had been smoking meth for about a month straight. Florida, come on. Who was selling her this shit? Who introduced her to methamphetamine? Was she just growing it herself? I don't know. And, I'd be pretty scared of what was happening to me, too, if I was lighting up a fat bowl of crystal every day for a month. That's just a reasonable statement right there. But then, again, the cops burst in, hauled Granny off to the slammer, and everyone lived happily ever after. That is, except for Granny, who I assume started tweaking the out like crazy in the jail cell, experiencing whatever hellish withdrawal would follow smoking meth daily for an entire calendar month. And S tier. Immediate S tier for... okay. Moving on. Actually, guys, I think just like basically all my other videos at this point, I guess this may have to be a part 2. I'm maybe like halfway through all of the stories that I wrote descriptions of. There's so many. The Florida man is such a busy fella. This thing's already like an hour long, and I'm trying to upload more frequently for you guys. You need more of my face. We can't just see each other once a month, man. It's not enough for me. I need full custody here. Your pop needs you. So let's hope this video does well so I can justify a second part. So make sure to like this video, share it around. As soon as this one gets 10,000 likes, keep an eye on that. I'll start filming for the next one. And of course, I gotta shout out my God tier patrons. Thanks so much to Stephanie D, Brendan N, Fate, David C, Tyler Not Yours, Cameron J, Operator Metro, I Tuck Between, Chase B, DeAndre M, George W, the Duke of Earl, Nadian Syrup, Shalom L, Arya and Calcifer, Just a Koala, Rena J, and Maxman Beta. Damn, I can almost not do that with just one breath anymore, so thank you guys for all joining, and Maybe I'll take 2 breaths one day. I don't know. That's the goal. And to the ever generous 20 buckaroos who give me 20 whole bucks a month. That's crazy. Thank you to Snegowski, Evan, Trent S, Blarg, Fuzzy Viper Shark, Al the Pal, Adam K, Vladimir S, Harabutica, Eduardo H, and Rare Bees. If you are living in the future and it's already out, here it is. And if not, it's one of my other videos. Those are neat. Those are cool. Check it out. Watch it. Consume my content. Please, please keep it crispy. Have a great day. Bye-bye.